That, my friends, is a Denver Broncos blowout victory. But do you feel better or worse about this team after seeing that performance? We're going to get into that all tonight on the DNVR Broncos postgame show. Ryan Koenigsberg alongside Super Bowl 50 champion Benny Fowler. We also got Henry Chisholm in the building in his own set. We had to, separate him away from us because his takes are so hot it heats up the whole building.
Let's go in.
I'm looking forward to this one because I think there's something for everyone.
100%
in that Denver Broncos preseason game. So let's get right into it. And I want to start here, Benny. What's your biggest takeaway from a Denver Broncos 30-9 win over the San Francisco 49ers?
I don't know if I necessarily have a biggest takeaway. I guess my biggest takeaway would honestly be how the first team offense performed. And the lack, we didn't score enough points. And that is not what you want to see after all of the preseason hype, and Bo has taken the next leap, and Sean Payton called him a top 5 quarterback, or he will be a top 5 quarterback. He also talked about Super Bowl this week. You would want it to be a little bit more crisp in terms of getting the points on the board. By the way, when I'm talking about this, I think Bo actually played really well. I think overall the offense didn't look good. I thought Bo, from an operation standpoint, I thought his mechanics, I thought the way he stood up in the pocket was great. But overall offense, Cortland had the drop on the first drive, which I thought could have kept that drive alive. But my biggest takeaway is that the first team offense did not look crisp. I was not happy about the crispness of overall the first team offense. So that's my biggest takeaway from the first preseason game. How about you?
Yeah, it's a weird position to be in because obviously the Broncos end up dominating the football game, winning handily.
Yeah.
And anytime the Broncos beat a team 30-9, I want to feel really good. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there's this emptiness in my stomach. It's like when you go out for like a meal and it doesn't hit. Like, and the bill comes and you're like, dang, that was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't feel completely satisfied.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this game. It's like, okay, we went out, we had a good night, we had some drinks, we had a good time, but the food didn't quite hit. The Broncos offense was not right, and it was 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
The 49ers didn't play any of their first team players. On the other side, the Broncos defense gave up a touchdown on the first drive to the San Francisco 49ers backup players.
Yep.
And it would be disingenuous to sit here and say that that wasn't incredibly disappointing to see that. And Bo eventually drives the team down for a field goal. That ends up being his last drive. The defense, goes out after giving up a touchdown. And I'm sitting here just like not knowing how to feel.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel because I was really disappointed when that all went down. And I think you're right about Bo playing like he did what he does decently well. Obviously, Sean Payton's going to call a very vanilla game. He's not going to give away any of his main stuff.
Or he didn't call any plays today.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
It didn't look like he was calling the plays. It looked like he passed that off. But either way, the Broncos are going to call a very vanilla game, preseason game 1. So I don't know. I'm in an odd place where it's like, yes, they went out and dominated this football game and won, but we didn't get what we wanted to see from the first team. And when Henry and I were on the show yesterday, it was like in a week where the term or the phrase Super Bowl was brought up so often, you wanted to see them go out and dominate. And they didn't do that. And I think that's my biggest takeaway is like, okay, this isn't a finished product.
No.
But the upside of that is that there's a lot of time left.
Yeah. 100%. I think it's preseason, so we can pump the brakes on that. I think Cortland has to still continue to get his rhythm, which I know he will get his rhythm. Bo gave him a nice jump ball at the end, back of the end zone on a third down play, which, you want Cortland. I know during the season Cortland comes down with that, but it would just feel refreshing to the fans and for us as fans and wanting to see this team do well for those plays to be made. But, yeah, we're in week 1 of the preseason. Like I said, I'm happy with Bo. I'm also very happy with the way that Troy Franklin looked, and I thought that he was super confident in terms of the way that he played. He's been getting a lot of praise during training camp in terms of him catching the ball, first ones, first twos, and for him to go out there, have a couple catches, to look confident, I thought was great. I also thought he ran some great routes. Bo missed him on a spear route. So a spear route is, Troy was lined up in the slot. He's running towards the back pylon. Ryan, you mentioned it on the live stream that Bo needs to throw that to the back pylon, which is correct. So if Bo actually leads him towards the pylon right there, Troy could probably get in the end zone, and that's what probably would have made us feel a lot better during that drive if we actually end that with a touchdown and a nice throw and connection. But I love the way that Troy looked with his routes, catching the ball. He caught the ball with his hands really well today. Nice catch over the middle, which I thought was great. So super happy about that. Really surprised that Evan Ingram didn't get any targets. Really
didn't feel
surprising.
like he was even out there.
Yeah, that was really surprising to me. So that would also be a takeaway, is that I'm surprised, regardless of you're running vanilla plays or not, Evan Ingram did not touch the ball or get targeted at all. So I'm not concerned at all because I know they will target him throughout the season, but would love to see him just catch the ball or have gotten the ball thrown his way. So
I had a take on the show that we did with Zach right after the joint practice. And he basically said the Broncos dominated in that joint practice. And in that practice, it came up that Evan Ingram had very little impact. And I said, is there a chance that it comes down to this? If you're scouting the Denver Broncos and you're getting ready for them, you can scout a lot from last year. You can scout Bo Nix. You can scout most of this defense. You can scout most of this offensive line. You can scout Cortland Sutton. One thing that you definitely cannot scout is how Sean Payton is going to use Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any chance that maybe they are keeping the Evan Ingram package in the back pocket so as to not give anyone an inkling of how they're going to use him in this offense?
I think there is a chance that Sean might be doing that. But at the same time, Evan's got 8 years of film or 7 years of film out there of him running different routes and being lined up all over the field. At the end of the day, he's still a matchup nightmare. Regardless, we still want him to see catch a flat route or, catch a pass on one of these naked routes, or a naked is a play action fake. But you'd love to see him catch one of these down flats or just to have the ball in his hands. So we didn't really see him touch the ball at all or line up in different spots. So, yeah, maybe they are hiding some things. I'd still like to see him get a target, or design something for him. But, yeah, maybe it'll happen next week. I'm sure it'll probably happen next week. If next week is their full dress rehearsal, or I don't know if they'll wait till game 3 to do that full dress rehearsal, but I think we'll see more of that maybe next week.
All right, let's get to the positive side. Is there any big takeaway that you have positively that you really loved today?
What did I really love today? Well, number one, for the most part, I loved Bo and the way that he played. I thought the way that he climbed up in the pocket was great. I thought that he was on time for most of the series that he was out there. I thought he climbed up in the pocket well. I thought that he found different targets, and I thought he made a couple of dimes. I think the one that Cortland dropped was a dime. I think the one to Troy over the middle was a great catch. I love the RPO. I'm very positive on that. I'm also very positive on Trent Sherfield and Pat Bryant, two other receivers that I thought that stood up and made plays. Pat Bryant had some great catches. I think he showed that he could take the next step. I would love to see him get some more reps with Bo and with the ones. Trent Sherfield just shows that we have depth at the receiver position. Jonah Ellis, very positive on him and the depth that we have from the edge rusher standpoint. Nik Bonnito, by the way, in the second series for the defense was unguardable. So very positive just on where he is at. Looked at in mid-season form, I think three straight passes, and he was in the backfield on all three. So those would be my positives and my takeaways where I thought, I'm very happy about those things. How about you?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is the defense only giving up 9 points over the course of the game.
Yeah.
Giving up a touchdown on that opening drive was really disappointing. But I think back to the fact that my guy, Andre Simone, the GM here at DNVR, and I used to do a betting show. And one of the things, and Guy used to produce it, we had a lot of fun. And one of the things we used to always talk about is betting on a first quarter touchdown or a first drive touchdown from offenses that come from the Shanahan tree. Because those offenses are incredible at scripting.
Yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, you go down the list, those guys, they script the first 15 incredibly well, and they drive down the field and they score a touchdown. And so as disappointed as I was that the one defense gave up a touchdown to the two offense, I think back to the fact that I've made a lot of money off of Kyle Shanahan scoring first drive touchdowns because that's what he does. He does an incredible job of looking at what can we get away with against this defense? What are we going to have success with against this defense? And they went down and they scored. They did not score another touchdown the rest of the game. Now, some of that was their two offense. Some of that was the Broncos 2s and 3s and 4s even on defense. But when you leave a game only giving up 9 points, you got to feel good about that. And I think the defense did a good job of adjusting, not allowing any more, creating turnovers, which is going to be a big part of being an elite defense, not just a great defense. And so I'm proud of them for that. You wanted to see them just put up a blank.
Yeah.
But
you wanted no points at all.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, from the first team defense or just throughout the entire game.
Yeah, from the first team defense.
Yeah,
I wanted to see them throw up a blank. But anytime you keep a team into single digits, you're going to win a football game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel great about the fact that they reacted after that scripted drive and did a great job after that.
Yeah, they did a great job. And yeah, I would say go back to Nik Bonnito and shout out to him. And then also Jaquan coming back with a pick, I think, after getting beat on the big box fade by Watkins, and he comes back and then makes a pick right there. So that was good to see. And also just keeping things in front of him over the second, third drives. I thought they did a great job. Shout out to Jahdae Barron as well. Couple tackles. He didn't have a loud game, but you wanted to see him around the football, which we got a chance to see him around the football and make some sticky and have some sticky coverage. So it was good to see that. I think just looking based off of, and you pointed out something that I think is really smart, is Kyle Shanahan and the way he scripts the first 15. Also, look how he attacked our defense. Yep. Going completely opposite of Pat Surtain, and Riley Moss and Jaquan get targeted.
Yep.
And that is something that we should expect, and our defense should be ready to handle all year. Those are the guys that other offenses will try to pick on. So I think that's something that needs to be worked out and figured out. How do you play or mix up different coverages the rest of preseason? Because that is where people are going to attack and try to attack our defense. I forgot our biggest takeaway. One of our biggest takeaways that we talked about at the beginning of the game. I was very disappointed in our defensive line up front and them getting pushed around, especially our first team defensive line.
QB sneak, yep.
Yeah, QB sneak. And then, the runs, some of the runs early on, that's also a big takeaway. That was a little alarming to me.
Let's throw over to our guy, Henry, and see what his biggest takeaway of the game was. Henry, what you got?
I think it might be Nik Bonnito. I'm struggling because it's only like a 3-play stretch where he was really dominant. But those 3 plays that he had back to back to back against a guy who in the past 3 years has been a starter in 2 of those seasons, I think that might be the single biggest thing I take away from this is just that Nik Bonnito looks like a superstar edge rusher, and the Broncos should get that deal done now.
While you're over there, why don't you hit us with a couple ads?
Yeah, no, I would love to do that for you. We'll give a shout out to our friends over at Ent Credit Union first. You guys, if you're watching this, are probably all Bronco fans. That might not be true. There are probably a couple of you who are really sad 49er fans who just want to feel the pain of listening to us be happy, or whatever we are, because we aren't the happiest. But assuming you're a Broncos fan, head over to Ent Credit Union because they are the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos. They've created a Broncos checking account that's built for fans like us. It's loaded up with a bunch of different perks, all the things that you would hope for, like no surprise fees, no minimum balance requirements, money in your Broncos checking account, even in dividends. But you also get perks like 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field at Mile High, a Broncos branded debit card to rep the team, and the chance to win tickets to a Broncos home game simply by paying with your Broncos checking debit card. Every time you swipe it 10 times, you get another chance to win. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, go to ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR. Sign up for Broncos checking today. Ent Credit Union is insured by NCUA. Membership required. APY, annual percentage yield. Account requires associate Ent Broncos debit card. Also, going to give a shout out to our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing. A bunch more Broncos fans, Nuggets fans, just Denver sports fans in general. I'm not sure if they were here tonight, but they're here a lot, which is one of the many reasons we really like them. We also like them because they're Denver's best roofers. They're pros over at Red Hawk Roofing, and they recommend that you should get your roof checked once a year. It's preventative. It's just good to know that things are going well so that it doesn't break down and it makes things more difficult in the future. There's no project too small for our guys over at Red Hawk. They use quality materials. They've got long-lasting relationships with a bunch of their customers, decades of experience, quick response time. They're the best estimators and contractors in Colorado. And again, they're huge DNVR supporters, so we really appreciate them. That's a free, no-obligation roof and property inspection, free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Supporting your local teams means also supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
Great job, Hank.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Just
Not my guy.
Yeah.
top notch. So Benny, we just went through a lot of takeaways, and I honestly don't even necessarily know my answer to this question yet. So I'm going to see what you say and see if that leads me one way or the other. Do you feel better or worse about the Denver Broncos after watching their performance tonight?
I feel the same. I wasn't going to be too high. If the Broncos scored a whole bunch with their first team offense, I wouldn't have been too high on that. If they played the way they did today, I wouldn't be too low on them, just based off of the fact that it's a preseason. I've been on teams where you win all the games and you look great in preseason and then you can't score during the regular season. And the reason why I say that, there's a couple reasons why. Number one, Sean didn't really call plays. Number two, we didn't design anything for our best players. Number three, this is new. This is Bo going into year two. There's a whole bunch of different things going on. So I wouldn't have felt any different regardless of how the game went. So I feel good about where the team is. I think Bo will continue to progress. I love the fact that we have a decent running back room now. I want to see the first two running backs do a little bit better in terms of catching the ball and finding the different holes like the second, third, and fourth string running backs did. I want to see Cortland come down with that pass. And then from the defensive perspective, I agree totally with you. So I think we got the number one. We'll have a top three, top two defensive in the league. Yeah, they might get scored on the first drive, but then they'll figure everything out, and then they'll stop you for the rest of the game. So I'm okay with how the defense performed. I love the way that they bounced back, and I love the way that, Henry talked about it. I love the way that Nik Bonnito came off the edge in that second series. So I love the way that Bo is progressing. I want to see even more. I want to see it more crisp next week. I want to see more opportunities. I want to see us come down with the balls, and I want to see Bo hit some explosive plays. So that's those passes of 20 yards or more. I want to see a couple of those. I think that's the next step. That's what I would like to see, but I don't feel any better or any worse regardless of, what we saw today. How about you?
Really quick, I just want to follow up on this because it's something we've mentioned just briefly a couple times. You talked about how you don't think Sean was calling the plays. Can you explain why you keep bringing that up?
I just think that we would have saw a score early on.
Well,
based off of what I know about Sean, and then just certain things that he would just dial up, even if they are vanilla plays, I think he would have just found something where he would have called something a little bit different. That's why I say that. And then also, I would say the runs that I saw, I just knew Sean wasn't calling the plays.
Well, and I think the big thing for me, at least, watching it as a spectator, is when they would cut to Sean on the sidelines, he had his play sheet up, but he wasn't speaking into his mic.
Yeah.
So you would see him kind of looking at his play sheet, but you didn't see him barking out a play like you would normally see from him during a game. So I think you're right, which was an observation that I probably wouldn't have picked up on if you weren't here, was that, this happens a lot. If you watch Summer League NBA, they usually let the backup or the top assistant be the head coach for the Summer League team. I'm guessing that Sean Payton let one of his top assistants call plays tonight. We don't know that for sure. Henry, if you could keep an eye on what comes out from the post game comments from Sean Payton, maybe we'll hear a little bit. Maybe he says he let Joe Lombardi or Davis Webb call the plays, and that would vindicate us. But I think you're right. Anytime they cut to Sean on the sideline, it did not look like he was barking out a play.
Yeah, he didn't look intense at all. You know how Sean is. He's got that big, play of menu of plays right there that he's calling. And I didn't see that throughout the entire game. I saw him kind of observing. I think he wanted to see the operation and what it looked like. I think he wanted just to have eyes on the players. And I think that's what we got a chance to see. So, yeah. I
like it. I think that's a great takeaway. I'm going to be honest.
Sean's washed.
I'm going to be honest here.
Uh-oh.
I would love to say that I feel better or equal about this team after watching that. But being a fanatic that I am, I'm going to ride the highs really high and I'm going to ride the lows really low. And I think I feel a little bit worse about this team than I did before. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to change my expectations or lower my win total, but I think if they would have gone out and marched down the field on offense against the twos and scored a touchdown, and I think if they would have gone and forced a 3-and-out on defense, I could say that I felt they performed the way I expected them to. And I think that the first team offense and defense both performed below what I expected from them. So I think it would be disingenuous for me to say that I don't feel worse than I did coming into the game about this team. Now, that doesn't have to mean anything. It's the first preseason game. I'm not overreacting. But I don't think I can possibly say that I feel the same or better. I certainly can't say better. And I think even saying I feel the same would be a lie. So I feel a little bit worse than I did coming into this game.
You don't feel as bad as you did at the beginning of the game, though.
No, I feel better than I did in the first 7 minutes. But I do feel worse because I don't think the first team performed the way that I expected them to. And that's okay because there's plenty of time to get it straightened out and get it right. But it is something that I just kind of jot down and say, okay, that was below expectations. They didn't perform. They had a very favorable situation. The only thing that they didn't have going for them is that they were on the road. But everything else was going in their favor. And they didn't capitalize on that opportunity. And so I think I feel a little bit worse.
I think sometimes you get woken up, though, as a player. And I can just speak to this as a player. When you go out there as a first-team offense or defense, and I'm going to speak more so to the defense right now because the defense is the one with the high expectations that they're talking about being the number one defense, and this could be a Super Bowl defense. Some of those starters, actually most of those starters, probably didn't want to play in this game or take any reps. And they thought that it was just going to be a nice, easy 3-and-out, and they got surprised. And I think that's why you saw Nik Bonnito and those guys come back and have a super strong second series. But when you find out that the other team is not doing or bringing their starters to the game, you let your guard down. And I think that's exactly what happened. They got caught letting their guard down, and then 49ers go down there and score, and then it's like, all right, now we got to play serious. And you see this in NBA games, and you see this as, like, oh, now we got to step up and really play. And I think that's exactly what happened to the first team defense is that, oh, no, they punched you in the mouth. Like, they're coming out here to play, and that's what happened. So I think the offense the same way. I think, they looked out there, they were kind of going through the motions and like, all right, we're going to easily march down the field because their twos are out there, and you did not take it serious.
Did you notice a little bit? To me, it felt like the 49ers were a little bit more willing to show presser packages and things of that nature than the Broncos were.
Yeah, for sure, because they got their ass beat in practice, and I think some of the media really talked about that. And you saw it in terms of the media, and especially with the coverage, especially from our local coverage, you saw that we really dominated that entire practice. And Kyle Shanahan was like, that's not going to happen. At least, we're going to come out there and show that we can play. So, yeah, they showed some different coverages. Usually you get vanilla cover one. I mean, they were playing.
They brought 7 on the line a couple times.
They showed a double mug blitz, which, you have 7 on the line and then 2 over the center. You showed those types of looks. So they weren't, they showed a little bit of different things that I don't think the Broncos were expecting as well.
Yeah.
So, it happens. And I think next week, if the Cardinals do play their starters, I think you'll see us come out firing differently.
Yeah, that was going to be my kind of move along take, was like, I'm just putting a little bit more pressure on the ones next week.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I gotta see y'all show up next week. I'll happily flush this. Everyone that's watching this knows I would love to flush the feeling that I have about that first team next week by them going out there, marching down the field, getting a touchdown, and forcing a 3-and-out in the other way. And I just say, okay, well, that's preseason week 1, throw it away. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Henry, I want to toss to you really quick. Do you feel better or worse about this football team after that performance?
I feel like when it comes to preseason football, you should be doing everything you can to not feel too much about it at all. But I think slightly worse. I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of things that were fun to see, particularly with the depth. Like the fact that Trent Sherfield looks like an actual weapon. Like Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin look like they belong, like they can contribute right away like you'd hoped. Chris Abrams-Drain looks like that he provides the depth you thought he provides. Like there are a lot of those little things that you can really like, but I don't think they outweigh the fact that the starting offense just didn't do what you wanted them to do. And they weren't terrible, but there was little things. And then when Bo takes that safety, that's one that really you don't like to see. And the defense, like the defense on that first drive, letting the 49ers go down the field and score. Like there are just too many big things to feel good. The big things outweigh the small little things that were good. And so I think I feel a little bit worse.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
While you're over there, you want to hit some ad breaks?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. First, we'll give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota. You guys are over there in the Toyota Lounge.
We are.
I'm not really sure where I am.
We aren't either.
Yeah, maybe not. Toyotas are great. They do a bunch of cool things for us, obviously, including by the naming rights, the Toyota Lounge, the Toyota Chat, where you guys are all hanging out right now. Toyota is awesome. You know all about them, the trucks, the cars, the SUVs. Just so many great options, including the 17 different models of the all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker. So many different choices. There are 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. The first time I was in a hybrid truck really threw me off because I don't really equate those two things. That's a cool truck though. Also, you can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East, Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL, official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. And also Coors Light. You guys have been looking at those Coors Lights on set all night. Every minute the
Coors Lights today.
Yes, 7 Coors Lights for RK today. That's a lot of Coors Lights. Every minute that goes by, the Coors Lights feel just a little bit more appealing. I'm not sure when Coors Light o'clock is, but 11 or so feels like about the right time to be really getting into those. Coors Lights are the best, whether you're out watching Savannah Bananas at Coors Field, whether you're hanging out at the lake, whatever it may be. If you want to chill, choose chill by choosing Coors Light. Make the most of the times you choose to chill by choosing Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado beer.
We've got hundreds of people in the chat, but only a few likes on the stream. So make sure you guys hit us with a like. Also, make sure you guys become a member over at DNVR.com. You can read Henry's incredible analysis that he puts out after every single practice. Also, Zach writing in there as well. It's totally worth it. You can even get the tailgate tier, which will give you a free pair of tickets to any tailgate this year. You're going to come to a game. You're going to go to a tailgate. It's totally worth it. So we would love to have you guys become a member at DNVR.com. Become a diehard. You get a free shirt with it as well. All right. Before we get to Henry's stock up, stock down report, you want to talk a little bit about the rookies, Benny.
Yes.
So give us your rookie report.
Oh, man, my rookie report. Let me get to my notes right here. So I think I talked a little bit about at the pregame show buying stock for Pat Bryant.
Sure did.
I'm definitely doubling down on that just based off of the way he played. 2 catches today. Caught the ball with his hands, nice shallow route, then a nice out route on 3rd down. I thought Stidham found him, and clearly Pat looked really comfortable out there. He didn't look like a rookie with the routes that he ran, the way he caught the ball. So really impressed with him. RJ Harvey showed explosiveness, which was great, which is something that I think that the Broncos running back room desperately needs. But I think he also learned that this is now the NFL. You're not going to outrun anybody to the sideline. So getting the ball and then running straight to the sideline and trying to beat everybody with your speed, no, that is not going to work in the NFL. These people, these DBs, these linebackers, they run just as fast as you do. So finding the holes like the 2nd string and 3rd string running backs like Tyler Bidet did and who else was it? Blake Watson. They had some explosive, and Jaleel had some nice explosive runs following the offensive line. So I think RJ, I'm not going to say stock up, stock down. I know we're not doing that right now, but he did have some explosiveness, and we like to see that. Want to see him catch the ball. He did get taken out on 3rd downs. I think we pointed that out. Yeah, that he's getting taken down on 3rd down. So I'm wondering what's up there. Jahdae Barron, he wasn't loud during this game, but I did love the coverage. I did love the 2 tackles that he did make, and was in on some plays, and was good to see him out there making some plays. Who else was there that made some plays as a rookie? I didn't see much from Caleb
Joaquin
Lohner.
Davis had a catch or 2.
Yeah, he did. He had a nice little out route. So in terms of the rookies, I thought the rookie class did decent.
Savion Jones got the fumble recovery.
Fumble recovery. So
there you go, Savion.
Yeah. So some plays were made, and happy about the young guys in terms of their progression. I'd like to see them get thrust into the ones starting group now to see how they react with. I'd love to see Pat Bryant with Bo, see how that connection goes, or how Sean tries to find different route combinations or receiver combinations with him. Would love to see RJ take the next step in terms of pass protection, pass blocking, being out there on 3rd down, but then also let's get north and south on the runs. Let's not go east and west. We want north and south on the runs. There are going to be your home run opportunities. So that's how I feel about the rookies. How about you, bro?
I think the number one thing that a rookie running back has to learn is that it's not like that anymore. You cannot take every run to the house.
Yeah.
And RJ Harvey was an incredibly explosive running back. UCF led the Big 12 in rushing yards last year. They gave the ball to RJ Harvey a whole hell of a lot. Mm-hmm. And they basically said, go score us touchdowns. And he did a great job of being able to turn what looked like nothing into a big gain. In the NFL, it just doesn't work like that. And I'm giving RJ Harvey a huge pass because he has to learn that. And guess what? If it doesn't work against the 49ers twos, it's not going to work against anyone's ones.
Yep.
And he actually was able to make one great run out of reversing field. And we've actually seen him do that in practice at training camp a couple times too. But it's just not a sustainable way to run in the National Football League. You really do have to follow the way the play is designed, take what's there, and move on. And this offensive line is going to get you holes that you are able to make explosive runs out of. And when you get to the second level, that's when you can take it out to the sideline. But he was a little too aggressive there. Mm-hmm. I really liked what I saw from Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
He was as advertised, I would say. But, I mean, both Tyler Bidet and Blake Watson, I thought outperformed RJ, and they were the two best running backs on the team, I thought.
Yeah.
Now they're going against lesser defenders, but I thought the way that they followed their blocks and went and just played the running back position the right way was impressive. So that's for me. I like what you said. I mean, I did say before the game that I thought Jahdae Barron had the most pressure to perform of anyone. He definitely didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
He had one play that I think I remember where he had a nice tackle right after a catch, but it was very neutral for me as far as I felt about the rookies.
For the rookies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Happy about Pat. You know, as I said. Also, RJ Harvey, I think they tried to give him a couple screens, and I think either Bo missed him or he didn't catch one, which I thought would have been an explosive play, which is something that we would have saw. So I think going into next week, I want to see that. I want to see us hit on those. I want to see us hit on those little plays where you can see the catch and run, the explosiveness within the offense. And then also, I think somebody said in the chat, yeah, we want to see RJ. I want to see RJ get north and south.
Yep.
Like, let's go north and south. Audric Estime had to learn that last year when Sean Payton told him, like, more Jerome Bettis, like, yeah, follow your blocks. We have this blocked. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a nice run block win rate with our offensive line. Let's have explosive plays, but they're north and south, not east and west. So, you know, rookies, you know, it's their first time being out there. So let's see what RJ does and how he progresses from preseason week 1 to preseason week 2, because it's going to be way faster week 1 of the regular season. I mean, it's insane how much the speed actually picks up from preseason to the regular season. It's a whole different game. So we got to get him up to speed quickly because, you know, J.K. Dobbins, yeah, he's going to be, you know, the first guy out there, but we're going to need to have both running backs playing really well.
All right, let's get to our guy Hank over here. Hank, give us the stock report. Whose stock is up? Whose stock is down after this first preseason game?
There are a lot more stock ups than stock downs. We'll start there. Number 1 on my list was Nik Bonnito. It's tough because he did have that one play where he could have set the edge a little bit better, gave up the touchdown. Also, potentially could have been a flag on that play. But when you see him get in the backfield back to back to back, that's a stock up. You guys touched on Blake Watson. I had him number 2 on the list. I was just waiting. I feel like we've been waiting forever to get to see him again because we hardly got to see him last year because of the injury. He's just electric. He's so slippery. He bounces off of tacklers. Like, he can catch the football in the backfield too. He seems like he has just about everything, and I'm excited to keep him going in these next couple weeks. Number 3, and this is where I'm curious if you can guess who this is. This is the Bronco who had the most rushing yards on the team today.
Jarrett Stidham.
It is Jarrett Stidham. 3 carries, 36 yards. Also led the team in passing. 14 of 15, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You said 14 of 15?
14 and 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's honestly kind of criminal that we haven't mentioned Jarrett Stidham to this point in the show because he was awesome.
That's the life of a backup quarterback, though. But I think it is important that we take a moment and say Jarrett Stidham just played a hell of a game. We talked about it on the watch along. There are quarterback battles in Denver that he would have won with the performance he put up in training camp last year.
All right. What else you got? Whose stock is down?
Starting defensive line. Again, it's you mentioned that play, the 4th and 1 against the backup offensive line. And I think part of it was the play call. Like, I don't know why you're not in a bear front. You know that they're just trying to get in that A gap. You know there's a good chance it's just going to be the sneak. And if that's the case, you need to have somebody lined up in that gap. Now, they still all got pushed back anyway. But I did think that the play call was a little bit off. The fact that they were giving up runs all day, that one in particular, I feel like that's an easy choice. In a game where there aren't a lot of players who I feel like their stock is down. There were some that I struggled with, though. Like Jaquan McMillan. Got beat on the fade that set up that entire drive. I think the play before Justin Strnad had gotten in the backfield, another candidate for a stock up. It was a 2nd and long. You should have gotten them into 3rd and long, got off the field. Instead, the slot fade means they're moving and they wind up scoring the touchdown. He gets back with the 2s and picks off a pass later on. I don't know how those two things cancel out, though. I almost come away more concerned than excited, but maybe that's just because I believe in Jaquan as a playmaker.
Your job is to tell us if the stock is up or down.
I know, but sometimes I need a little bit of help. Let's see. You guys talked about Audric. That's another one where the stock might be down after this game. And we talked yesterday about how, it's tough for him to move his stock up in a game like this because there's so many blown assignments, and one guy makes a mistake on defense because he has no idea what he's doing yet because he's with a new team and he's been here for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden there's a running lane where if you're fast enough, you're just gone for 30 yards. Tyler Bidet can take advantage. Blake Watson can take advantage. Audric just isn't built to take advantage of those. He's built for the tough, grimy yards. I think everything he did today translates pretty easily into the regular season. It's just that it wasn't all that exciting. 2.6 yards per carry, 8 carries, 21 yards. The catch that he did take for 20 yards, you give him credit. But I think I still lean a little bit stock down there.
Audric's stock went down.
Yeah, I think it had to. That's kind of it for the stock down guys. I'm curious if you guys had any others.
I don't know if I have any stock ups or stock downs that I can speak of. I didn't really see Talanoa Hufanga out there. Yeah. I don't know how many plays he got, but
he made like a one tackle from behind after a player got away, and that's all I really remember.
I guess stock up should be also, we talked about Stidham, but Trent Sherfield. What do you have?
Yes.
3,
he was
4
next
catches?
up on the list.
So stock up is for him.
Stock way up. For me.
Yes.
That catch, obviously, I think that was our favorite play from the game.
Yep.
All of us. Incredible catch, dime throw, like outside shoulder, but then also for him to get both feet in, catch a ball like that, hold on to it with strong hands. I just thought that was an incredible catch. So definitely, that'll probably be SportsCenter top 10 today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, since you mentioned SportsCenter, I have to get something off my chest, just really quick. So SportsCenter, ESPN is doing this like 50 states in 50 days thing.
So stupid.
And they're like going through, just like talking about sports in each state. Today is Colorado. What they decided to highlight was the fact that the Savannah Bananas were at Coors Field. We're highlighting Colorado. We're highlighting sports in Colorado. 50 states in 50 days. We're talking about the Savannah Bananas being at Coors Field today. We have the 3-time NBA MVP plays in Colorado. We have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year plays in Colorado. We have the Hart Trophy winner in Nathan McKinnon who plays in Colorado. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner plays in Colorado. Well, now he plays in Jacksonville, but he's from Colorado. We're talking about the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, that's ridiculous by ESPN.
They're the worst.
Sorry, I had to really get that off my chest or else I would forget too. Yeah, what were we just talking about?
We were talking about Trent Sherfield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trent Sherfield.
Stock for sure.
I think I would have maybe put him number one as stock most up today.
It was really tough. The one that was really tough was between him and Jarrett Stidham. Because Stidham also made that throw. And he was 14 of 15 with all that other stuff.
Well, you just know that Trent's going to be on the field obviously way more than Stidham. So I'd put Trent Sherfield as definitely number one stock up for the plays that he made. He was just there for Stidham. And, yeah, he was in. You saw him blocking as well. So I don't think he's going to be receiver 2 at all. I think he has a carved out role here in terms of how he will be playing on offense and then what he will be doing on special teams. But I thought he played tremendously well today. And, you need a vet like that in a receiver room and then on an offense to go in there and just be a pro. And that's what Trent Sherfield is. He's a pro's pro with the way that he shows up, with the way that he works. So that was cool to see, and yeah, stock definitely up for him.
Also, we have Brady Coker in the chat saying Junior Bergen, Montana Grizzlies, just over and over again.
Oh,
that's for you.
He was electric. Montana Twitter went on fire with that kick return he had.
Well, how far was it?
He broke that first tackle. They got to the 45 maybe?
Okay. Yeah. My guy, LeJohntay Wister, put it in the box.
Yeah, that was a punt.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We're talking returners.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see who does it in the regular season.
Hank, anyone else that you wanted to mention in the stock up, stock down?
I feel like there's a Bo Nix conversation here. I feel like I personally
Don't be afraid.
I come away more concerned by the fact that he took that safety then I come away excited by just kind of the poise he had the rest of the day. Now, again, it's one preseason game. It's a guy who it gets talked about a lot. Like his stock is not a stock that moves all that much at this point. But I do think it probably is a tick down just based on that. And there were a couple throws that were a little bit off target. Not worried about that stuff. But I don't know how he wound up taking that safety. We talked about it on the show. When the blitzer comes in, you have to kind of let him get inside if you're going to get outside him. Otherwise, it's such an easy play to get to you. But I think maybe a slight stock down there.
Yeah, that play really disappointed me.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a good teaching moment. You know, like it's a good reminder. It's just a good time to say like, hey, there's a lot of things you can do there. Throwing the ball short of the line of scrimmage while you're falling away from the defender is just not going to be one of them. And I think that I would much rather see that now than in week one, but it felt out of character for Bo Nix to make a play like that.
It really did.
I'm buying Bo Nix stock right now.
You should.
Definitely after this type of game, because of his work ethic and how he thinks. I mean, there's nobody who's going to be harder on himself than him after the mistakes that he made and some of the throws that he missed today. And I think he is going to be on it and more dialed. So I'm definitely buying some Bo Nix stock. Yeah, didn't play all. I mean, no, I'm not going to say he didn't play all that well, but yeah, he made some mistakes, but I'm still buying his stock right now. I think he'll continue to progress. I think we'll see Sean call plays next week. I think next week might be the final dress rehearsal.
Could be.
I don't remember last year how they played, if they played the starters in the third preseason game.
I believe they did. They did.
They did play the starters in the third preseason game?
Yes, but remember it was a quarterback competition before. So I think Stidham started the first game, Bo started the second, then they named Bo the starter, and then Bo played in the third. So maybe if he just gets those two first starts, he doesn't.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll see how many snaps that he plays next week, but I expect Bo to be on target, more on target, and I expect more rhythm and everything going into preseason game number 2. So I'm buying his stock right now. Yeah, you buy low,
Me too.
sell high.
You guys see the Jags kicker made a 70-yard field goal tonight?
That's insane.
That's sick. Henry, as back of the roster, Hank, is there one back of the roster player that you want to make sure gets a little bit of love tonight?
We can go with. So we believe it's Karene Reed. We thought it was Kareen Reed. Broncos are currently saying it's Karene Reed from Utah, the linebacker. He had the interception tonight.
Great pick.
Yeah, totally above his head. That's one. Sometimes you see those and think like, it kind of came right to him. All he had to do was reach up and grab it. How many times do you see a linebacker not make that play? It's over and over. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is generally what happens. He's had a great camp with the Drew Sanders injury. He's still probably not going to be able to make the cut just because he'd be their 5th linebacker. He's not passing Lavelle Bailey or Justin Sternad. But you never know. They could keep 5. And if not, he's a lock for the practice squad, assuming nobody picks him up.
How about
I have a
Jaden
question.
Robinson?
Oh, yeah.
Totally. I mean, Oregon State cornerback. We talked about it a little bit on the watch along. Has all like the measurables, the height, weight, 40 time, vertical, all that stuff adds up to like he's NFL capable. It's just turning him into an NFL cornerback. The numbers last year at Oregon State weren't great, but that's because he was playing at Oregon State, lining up against other teams' number 1 receivers over and over and over again. And that's a really tough job to have, especially for somebody who was kind of late to playing football in the first place. So he had a good game tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up taking one of those practice squad spots.
Do the Broncos still have a history of an undrafted player making the roster, opening day roster? I know that was a thing for a while.
Yeah, it was like 21 straight years, I think. And then 2 or 3 years ago, there wasn't one.
So when Sean came in.
It might have
it
been
was
Sean's.
before
It was
that.
either Hackett or Sean. Was it Hackett?
Okay.
It was Fangio.
Oh, Fangio.
Of course he would do.
Yeah,
He'd be
that
the one
also
to
adds
take
up.
that.
But yeah, there were 3 last year, and one of them was just on IR for most of the year, and Blake Watson made the roster. Lavelle Bailey made the roster, but then 24 hours later wound up getting cut because they signed somebody else. But technically 3 last year.
Yeah.
Hank, have you seen anything coming out of the press conferences that you feel is worth sharing?
Sean Payton's not happy. He said that there were about 14 plays that he wrote down that really made him mad. 14 things. He didn't say plays. He said things. He was happy that the momentum picked up in the second quarter, but was very disappointed, he said, in how the game started.
Am I vindicated then?
1,000%.
In my frustration with the first 10 minutes of the game, if Sean Payton is also very upset.
Well, no, you are Sean Payton.
Yeah,
A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying me and Sean Payton are always on the same wavelength.
I think, I mean, you could tell he was pissed, and he looked pissed after the game when we saw him. And I think he was just as mad as you. So I think the Broncos offense is going to be watching that film together, and I think he is going to be, you know what he's going to do? He is going to let those coaches have it. Because those coaches, you're coaching that. Either you're coaching it or you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, we've been out to practice, and some of the practice, the things we saw in practice, we saw out there in the game today.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sean Payton is low-key a genius in the way that he does things. He went out of his way to talk about how great he thinks this team is. When he does that, he actually takes the pressure off the team and puts the pressure on himself. Mm-hmm. When he puts the Super Bowl stamp on that team, it no longer necessarily becomes about them, and it becomes about him. It's Sean Payton said this team can be Super Bowl. But he can also use that to his advantage when he goes into the meeting tomorrow or whenever they're going to review this film. And he can say, hey, what the hell, guys? I told everyone that I thought you guys could go to the Super Bowl, and you went out and put this bullshit effort out there. Mm-hmm. You're making me look bad.
Yeah.
And he can use it both ways because because the media will ask him, hey, you said this team could win a Super Bowl. They're not going to ask Bo Nix, hey, Sean Payton said this team could win a Super Bowl. What's going on? They're directed at Sean. But Sean can also use that as a weapon against them to say, hey, what the hell, guys? I thought you guys were the real deal. Maybe I was wrong. You guys are going to have to prove me wrong now.
Yeah, I think he's going more so, and he will go more so at those coaches. You know, just based off of the experience that I've had with Sean. And, I mean, it was more so during a regular season game when I talked about it during the watch-along when we played the Vegas Raiders and we didn't play well. And he ripped the coaches, and the coaches ripped us with how we showed up and how we played. So I think those coaches and practice is going to be hell next week. And the way they're going to come out, and then you have a joint practice against Arizona, which, you know, is very important. And then, you know, preseason too, things have to be better. I will be super worried if we have this type of performance next week against the Arizona Cardinals. So, yeah, Sean's pissed. I'm curious to see what those 14 things are. I think 12 of them are on offense. Maybe 2 of them are on defense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's mostly going to the offense. And, yeah, Sean's not happy. And he's probably, that film, you know, they're going to be watching that film on the plane tonight.
Yeah.
He's going to have all the notes, and those coaches are going to be in that building tomorrow. They probably land at, 2 a.m.? What time is it right now? Yeah, they'll probably land at 2 a.m. Those coaches will be in the building at 7, watching that film, team meeting right there. Oh, man, that's not going to be fun.
Hank, anything else notable from the pressers?
That was the big stuff. Oh, Matt Henningsen did tear his Achilles. They kind of feared that the 6th or 7th round pick out of Wisconsin a few years ago. Got to play a bunch as a rookie, but past 2 years, last year in particular, just only on the practice squad. I think got into 1 game.
Damn.
Yep.
Would love some chats. I mean, would love for people to ask some questions. What their favorite moment from the game was, or if there are any other chats that, you know, we can answer in the last 5 minutes. Would love to hear from some of the fans.
Absolutely. I do believe we have a super chat. Henry, maybe you can grab us a couple more things from the pressers, see if anyone said anything notable. But we'll start here with a super chat from our guy Jordan, who says, it looked like phase 1 with the starters was work on some things. Phase 2 was see what these guys can do. And phase 3 was let's get out of here.
Phase 1, was definitely let's work on some things, but let's be crisp. Yeah. I think phase 1 was, hey, let's go out here. Let's have 2 great series. Let's move the ball up and down the field. And let's get the mechanics and operations of getting in and out of the huddle and alignment right. Let's try some different combinations of receivers out there. But they weren't pleased with phase 1 at all. That's why those guys stayed out there. They played the whole first quarter. I don't think that was the plan at all.
Straight up. I couldn't agree more. But I think the general concept that the commenter had there was on point. Henry, anything else?
Well, here's one thing. So I said that he had the 14 things written down that he was angry about. The exact quote was, I've got 14 things I've written down that I'm pissed off about that have nothing to do with the game.
Oh.
What? They have nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
So,
Your theories.
So 14 of them that aren't even about the game.
So, like, he's pissed off about the way the 49ers laid out the away locker room.
It could be. Maybe that's
or
one.
lack of cheering on the sideline for your teammates.
Okay.
Or Troy Franklin having on green cleats.
Gilligan hats. Oh, good. Yeah, that could
I
be.
know Coach Prime would not allow that.
Sean's super huge on team things.
Yeah.
So were people not happy about that? Maybe was alignment on some of the. No, I think that's a game thing. So it can't be alignment on formations. Jeez, they're
Is he
not
mad at-
about the game.
Energy, like, coming out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Is he like mad at the 49ers for like blitzing more than they should have, or like more than they expected?
What?
Would that be about the game?
That's
That's
too
about
gamey.
the game though.
Henry?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I think his coffee was cold. I think like he
Cold
didn't get the
coffee's
breakfast
better.
he asked for.
Maybe he didn't like the Jordans that he was wearing.
Oh, that could be.
Tommy says little internet shows? Question mark.
Oh, probably. There's more than 14 of them.
What
Us.
an interesting quote. Sean Payton is
I
one
love
of
how
one.
he leaves that out here for you, though. He won't give you any more information. I'm pissed about 14 things,
Yeah.
but none of them have to do with the game, and then doesn't say what they are.
Also, like, where was that notepad? Because, like, he's holding his play sheet.
Yeah.
So, like, he had another additional sheet that he was pulling out, writing down things that pissed him off. Like, the
Yeah, there's
music
probably-
was too loud in the stadium.
There's usually a guy either standing right behind Sean or to the right of him that he says, "Hey, write this down."
I
Oh.
need that.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got
so
to
that's-
yeah. We got to talk to that guy.
Yeah. Will you follow me around, bro, so I can just say, like, hey, can you write this down?
Yeah.
All right, I got you, bro.
Yeah, so he'll be like, "Hey, write this down. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this." And this guy's usually standing behind him or right to the right or left of him and follows him around the entire game.
I mean, these coaches are so meticulous about the way that they want their team to operate. And I'll just bring this up because we have the unique look to be able to see inside Colorado football's practice every day. But, like, Coach Prime was pissed the other day that, like, when they transitioned between the 1 offense and the 2 offense, it was taking too long. And he was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, the 2 offense should know exactly who's going out there. They should know exactly what the play. They're standing on the sideline next to the coach. So the second that the 1 offense comes out, the 2 offense should be out there and they should be running the play.
Yeah.
And, like, you and I should say me and Henry
Yes.
wouldn't think about that. But when you've been a part of a practice and you've been around a coach who just expects things to be done a certain way, it makes sense to you to say, like, yeah, of course. Like, if you're on the 2 offense, you better be ready to sprint out there the second the 1 offense comes out. You already know that they get 5 plays. So when that 5th play, the ball is in the air, you guys should be almost on the field ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the little details. Sean's very, like you say, Sean's very meticulous in terms of how he wants things run. And he wants things to be perfect. And he wants the operation to be perfect. These 14 things, now that's something I'm going to be thinking about. What are these 14 things that really pissed him off? I don't know. But I'm excited to jump into the All-22 film and then and point out some things that we really will see about, the first team offense. And then we can come back and see what it actually looked like from the coach's film with the 1 offense and then the 1 defense against the 49ers. So there's definitely a lot of things to clean up, but that's what the preseason is for.
Facts. All right, we got a couple super chats here from Kenneth. He says, why are we hanging on to Awazarike? I'll toss this to Henry, who's a big Awazarike believer.
Because he's an incredible football player. Yes, he did put his hands in the guy's face today and negate an interception. Not his best moment. Not his worst moment, though.
Definitely not.
At training camp, I guess it has been a little bit quieter this year, but the flashes are just so obvious. I think there's a real chance. I've said before, I still think he's going to wind up being a starter in the NFL. As Sean has said, missing your entire second NFL season really set you back. So, you kind of hope that he takes the step in the rotation this year and you leave the year saying like, oh my goodness. And we've seen it in games before. He has flashed in games. It's just that he hasn't had a lot of opportunities because of self-inflicted problems. But you don't let a very talented player go if you think he's still got some juice in the tank. They think so, and I think so too.
There was a question here for Benny in the starred questions. Yeah. It was from Arvada Orange. Said, what two things on defense do you think Sean will be mad at, Benny?
The two things, I think he'll be mad at the defensive line up front. And I think he'll just be mad at the energy and the way they started that game. Like, I think the 49ers had all positive plays. I think they had maybe one negative play on their first drive. I mean, they were just moving the ball. So I think energy and then the defensive line up front is something that Sean will be mad at. I think if the defense does their job the way that they did in the second round, I don't think you see a big box fade get caught on Jaquan McMillan because I think that the pass rush is there. And we just paid these guys up front, DJ Jones and Zach Allen, and then Bonnito. Hopefully he'll get paid here soon. But we expect to make Mac Jones look like why he's on his third team.
Yeah.
Don't make him look like an all-star out there. So I think those are the two things that I think Sean will be upset about. But more so the energy and effort that they displayed on the first drive.
Quick one that I'll toss to Henry from Young Beast. What do you think of Chris Abrams' drain tonight?
He was good. I mean, you saw the pick, obviously. I mean, it gets called back, but we all saw what happened. He made a great play. He caught the ball. Doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but when it comes time to evaluate players, that counts just as much as if any hadn't put his hand in the guy's face. He's sticky. Like, he's fast, he's quick, he's bursty. Even if somebody kind of gets out of a break and gets a step on him, he can close that gap so quickly. He has great ball skills, great instincts. The problem is just that he's not very big. And so I'm not sure what he's listed at right now. 180, maybe. And when you're 5'10", 180, there are going to be some really tough matchups for you. So far, that hasn't really been an issue. And you just kind of hope that he's scrappy enough that continues to work out in his favor. If at some point he hits a ceiling and NFL receivers are just too big and they're making too many plays against him, that stinks. But for a 5th-round pick, you couldn't have asked for much more than what you've seen so far.
Love it. Before we wrap up here, Benny, any final thoughts that you want to get off your chest or just overarching themes that you want to get out of here with?
No, I mean, it's preseason game, number one. I want to see, number one, the Broncos got the win, so that is a positive. I think we want to see the one offense and one defense play better going into preseason week 2. We know that Sean is pissed, so things will get corrected. We got the right people on this team. We got the right leadership, so let's improve from week 1 to week 2. But we did get the win. It's not all bad. We want to see things be better, but it's not all bad.
Henry, anything?
I don't think so. I think we kind of covered it all. When you spend 3 hours talking on that watch along, you really don't feel like there's anything that's left to be said.
But you got to remember that not everyone watches the watch along.
True.
We got a different audience for the pregame show, a different audience for the watch along, different audience for the postgame show.
Then what I'll say is this: watch the watch along. It's a really good time. If this is the only time you're watching us, you made a big mistake today.
It is true. We have a lot of fun on the watch along, and it'll only get better. We're going to add some more structure to it as the season goes on. As Sean would say, we were exploring our games today.
Yeah.
And I explored a lot of things. I'm going to leave with this. And it's going to be a classic RK spin. The fact that the Broncos won 30-9, and I'm a little bit dissatisfied, to me says a lot about where this team has come. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the Broncos had won a preseason game. We would have been doing like a full-on winner's lounge, play the funky music. Let's get it popping. Let's soak this up because we don't know how many more of these are coming this year. And the Broncos just aren't at that point anymore. We expect a lot of them. Sean Payton has put a lot of expectations on this team that we can play off of. And we expect Bo Nix to take a step forward. We expect this defense to be one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL. And so, as a fan base, we're allowed to be a little bit disappointed in a 30-9 win. And that is actually a great thing about how far this franchise has come. So, as much as we were nitpicky about the way they performed tonight. I think it's actually a better sign in the fact that this team has come a really long way and they're a real competitor at this point.
That's a classic RK spin right there.
That is.
Mic drop.
Let's go. This was fun. We've been with you guys on air for about 4.5 hours, maybe almost 5 hours at this point. We've had a blast. Benny, awesome talking ball with you all night.
Yeah, man.
Henry,
great. Awesome.
Great job as always. Yaya behind the camera, behind the mic, all of it. Great job. Shout out to everyone who's been with us from the pregame show to now. Shout out to everyone who's just been with us for the last few minutes. We will be back, of course, on Monday talking ball with you guys 5 days a week plus the game. We'll see you guys then.
We all silly like the mayor.